Their grades very quickly, and her reproduction of the classic opening lines was so awkward that the audience laughed. He wasn't supposed. People have had an early screening. A lot of YouTube creators, a lot of Twitter people, a lot of writers. Netflix. Next time, there is one more person who would you don't even need to fly me out to anywhere. Just send me a link. I'll watch it. It's gonna be great. And I won't say a peep about it. You'll never hear about it. Just let me watch it, and I'll deliver a very critical review, right? So please. So from Avatars. Oh, by the way, before we get into it, we need to acknowledge one thing. Number one, there is a little bit of, access journalism happening right now. Access journalism, basically, like, there's a chance that some of these outlets are being picked because they're going to be positive about the series, right? So we are leaning towards positive reviews, right? And the same thing goes for channels that are focused on these things. As much as I joke about it, if I watch the series and it's like visually stunning, my first reaction would probably be that it's very good. And then I think about it and then I'd be like, well, actually, these are initial reactions. That said, Avatar says this is a peak cinema experience, 10 out of 10 first episode. As far as I know, there are some people who have seen... No, but maybe now I'm mixing together The Walking Dead. I don't know how much people have seen. I think they've seen at least a couple of episodes. But there's an embargo going on, right? So they can talk about the first, maybe they can't talk about the second. I'm not entirely sure. We'll read through all these links. So this is very good. Very good. Very little context, though. Except this, right? It's...
Could you try again?
Thank you, Siri. It's not a one-to-one adaptation, which is totally fine. The show is completely faithful and spirited to the original, which to me is the most important thing, right? Is the vision. We wanted to feel like Avatar more than we wanted to... I was going to say look like Avatar, but that's not true, right? We wanted to look like Avatar, but more importantly, we wanted to feel like Avatar. Some people are saying they're biased because you got invited to the premiere. I mean, it is true, though. Like, it literally is true. If you're going to be extremely negative about everything, you're not going to be invited into these to these things. So this was a very, very good review as well. Spectacular. Done the old animation, of which I was a fan of Incredible Justice. The cast was terrific, the visuals were remarkable, and Aang is a revelation. Great. And the same thing here, right? Visually gorgeous, which we expected. Like, can we please talk about the, the arms race that is VFX and budgets? Because I remember hearing that, like, Game of Thrones is going to have, like, a $10 million budget, and everyone lost their minds. At this point, it's like 10 million budget per episode. Okay, I see what you're doing. It's kind of like the norm, It's no longer like the huge thing that only Game of Thrones could do, which is insane. Very good. By the way, I didn't talk about this, but the bending action. I think it was yesterday. I don't think I have it up. I don't. But Netflix released a clip that I feel like they shouldn't have released. They released the Boomy clip, and it didn't look great. Because previously we saw, like, the super snappy Aang doing, like, the whirly flippy thing, and scooting over the big rock. But they released one that was like, it looked weird. I didn't like it. What I was going to say before, we know how long the episodes actually are. So this is 1 hour and 1 minute. Makes sense, because the premiere in the animation is even technically 40 minutes, right? It's not, but it's a two-parter. So that makes sense. Episode 2, let me actually open up the, I would assume this is Southern Air Temple plus Kyoshi Island, and maybe getting to Omashu at the end? But that seems extremely fast. I would imagine this, rather Episode 2. Episode 2 would probably be more so Kyoshi Island, rather than anything else. This could probably be like Omashu? I don't know. I'm sure people have thought about this a lot more than I'm thinking on the fly right now. I know the runtime is basically the same thing, though. I'll be very, very curious to see how this looks, right? Because I feel like episode 1 is probably going to be like the closest thing to seeing how it's translated, right? Because it's a 40-minute episode in animation, and I am almost certain that that's 1 hour in live action, right? That's going to be interesting. Responding to questions? We can look at that. Because that would be interesting. I don't know about the peak cinema line. I mean, I say peak cinema as a joke, so I don't think you should take it, like, very seriously. I always say peak cinema, because it's just funny. If it's something good, you throw up the picture of peak cinema. It's goofy. I love it. And here, there's a bunch of compiled reactions, right? So this is from Games Radar, I guess, just reporting on it. Yeah, I mean, the first episode is fantastic. From the opening scene, you realize this is far better than the 2010 film. Not a high bar, but good that we at least cleared that one, right? It's not a very high bar at all, but it's more dramatic, mature, and violent than the original. Yes, we do expect this, right? A lot of people were immediately kind of like, about the, you know, the mass unaliving. If you know, you know. I think it's an interesting touch, putting it in there. Because that's like my general thought process about these series that, like, I said the same thing with One Piece, right? We are sort of desensitized to a lot of the violence because it's animated. I feel like focusing on it a bit more in live action just makes sense. It's one of those things that if they didn't do, I feel like in a couple of years you'd hear people saying, why did we never actually see, like, the horrors of the Fire Nation? You know, it's that sort of vibe. There is implied horror, which also works really well, but I feel like they can do that with something like Gyatso, right? What does it take to be better than the 2010 film? Well, like I said, it's not a high bar. I'm finally allowed to say the first episode of Avatar is, wait, what? Hey, yo, what is this? So this is from IGN. Did not meet expectations. I'm finally allowed to say the first episode of Avatar is a huge letdown. Sure, the bending looks great and generally the visuals are solid, but this is a mixed bag of an adaptation. I guess we'll see. One thing that I'm very confident about, and I can, like, state this without ever worrying about that it's gonna be, like, aged like milk or whatever. This, even if the story is bad, I can bet my left arm that this is going to be the most expensive piece of fanfiction ever created. So even if you just want to see, you know, like a little bit of a fan movie, this is going to be that. It's going to look gorgeous either way. I'm very curious why. First episode's flaws, viewer remains hopeful for the rest of the series, as viewer... Some of the acting was a little stiff, and I wish it was more cinematic, but it's a solid start. Being more cinematic, this is always something, you know... I don't know. The whole making shows cinematic versus making them... I think the word cinematic has just been diluted a bit recently. Because I feel like a lot of people equate cinematic to being like, just like huge sprawling shots. And, you know, going sort of by like all the cinematic rules. Whereas a lot of the time I feel like breaking those rules actually works really well as well. But, you know, I guess we'll see. I want to look at what you just said about the actually answering questions though. Because the Avatar reviews thus far, I haven't seen like anything super specific. Let me look it up right now. I don't trust IGN reviews. I don't think it's a problem with IGN. I think it's a problem with, this is what I've always said. I don't trust any reviews. I literally don't. I don't trust anything until I see it with my own eyeballs. It's as simple as that. IGN has done good reviews. IGN has done extremely bad reviews. Like the One Piece one we talked about. It's like they were saying how it deviates from the original, which is good, but it like holds too close to the original. But that's what an adaptation is supposed to be. You know, it's kind of like they were saying that they're banking on nostalgia, which they clearly weren't. And they were talking about like all the Easter eggs and stuff, which I don't think were a problem at all if you didn't even know they were there. So, you know, it'll be. All right, let's look at this. Performance of the cast. Solid performances across the board. Very good. Let me zoom in a bit more. Was there any earthbending in the first episode? Probably not. Wait, what? Earthbending in the first episode? Oh, you know what it might be? They might be doing... It might not be just the mass unaliving that's happening. You know what the earthbending might be? They might be showing us how they establish like all the earthbending like prisoner camps. That would be very cool. If the opening of the episode is actually just Fire Nation committing war crimes. Like it's literally just a war crime montage. It would be cool to see the Earth Kingdom fighting back as well. Because we are so focused on the air nomads. We're forgetting the fact that they waged war on everyone. You know? This wasn't just the air nomads. They were fighting everyone. So that could be that. We see firebenders in ancient uniforms attacking an earthbending soldier. The earthbending scene we saw in one of the trailers, I like the theory that it could be like the Call stuff. In the Imprison episode. But I'm not sure. The only thing that like comes to mind is either some sort of bombastic opening sequence of like just the water, earth, yada yada, or it is the actual war, which I would like. I saw that one of the original creators was the premiere as well. Okay, so Michael was there. I mean, why wouldn't he be, to be fair? How was the writing and acting overall? Pretty sure almost everyone says the bending was great, but the review for acting was mixed. Acting was great in my opinion, not award-winning, but there's literally no egregious bad performances in the bunch. Okay, good. What was your favorite moments? My favorite part is a spoiler. Do we want to look at it? Do we want to look at the spoiler? The best part of episode 1. You know what? We're gonna look at it. We're gonna take a quick peek. Quick peek. Hey, yo. That is very interesting. That is very, very interesting. Is this just a matter of, like, planting the Dai Li? Or is this something more? Because this could be a little, haha, Dai Li is everywhere, you know? They're doing some shady things all over the world, and that's it. Or it could be something more. Interesting. Because now I'm going back to all the stuff they said, we are making it like Game of Thrones. And I'm wondering whether what they meant by that is just that there's going to be like more political machinations. You know? Because considering Avatar is at the heart, like it is a story about war, we saw a surprising lack of that, you know? Like outside of Lake Laogai, we saw relatively little as to how those things happen. Interesting. I wonder if you can bend Earth silently. I think you can. I think you can, because you don't necessarily need to use, like, big boulders, right? You could, like, hide a little rock in your sleeve, and then, like, shoot it out. It'd be great. Yeah, this is very interesting. This is one of those spoilers that is, like, I think it just is so thought-provoking that I don't even treat it as a spoiler that much. Unfortunately, I don't think something like this could ever have the cultural impact of Game of Thrones. I don't think we're going to see another Game of Thrones for a very long time. I don't. Especially on Netflix. Because the Netflix binge model, like, ruins that sort of engagement. Okay, hold up. We're not looking at Gyatso spoilers. No more Gyatso spoilers. I don't think there even is a Gyatso spoiler. We're good. Will Katara be narrating the intro like in the original series? Yes and no. So this probably just means there's another intro. Like, there's more than just the Katara intro. Using penguins as slaves in live action might border animal cruelty? No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just having fun. No, it's not. Interesting. So it's all 3. Because I assumed that it's just going to be the 2-parter extended for an hour. Because this is already talking about pacing, right? My biggest problem with One Piece was pacing. This literally doesn't have that problem. This adaptation has literally no room to argue about pacing because the runtime of both of these things should be identical. And they should be able to cut out bits that are not, like, wholly important. You know? Like, The Great Divide, they can cut it out. They can, and that is plus 20 minutes that they can use for live action that they didn't have in the animation. They have no room for arguing about pacing. So this is going to be very interesting. All 3 episodes in the opening. It seems pre-existing fans like it, but newcomers didn't like all the exposition, but I'm sure the later episodes will have a lot less exposition dumping. That is very interesting, because I feel like Avatar is one of those series that, like, straight up just everyone knows. Like, the story of Avatar has been so... It's so sort of ingrained in Western culture. I feel like everyone at least knows, like, what the story is about. So that's an interesting criticism. I don't know. If I think about how much people know about the premise of certain shows, is sort of the same thing with Breaking Bad, right? Even if you've never seen Breaking Bad, I feel like you know what Breaking Bad is and what it's about. I feel like it's the same thing with Avatar. It's just very, 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 very much ingrained in the culture. Music is chef's kiss. Yes. Very good. How much is the episode is the mass unaliving in terms of minutes? I would say the mass unaliving is 3 to 5 minutes long. Okay. Makes sense. Music is good? Good. Any rumors to squash? Is bro sexist? Such a blunt way of asking. Is bro sexist? What's up with bro? What's up with bro? Too early to tell. That's mostly coming in episode 2 with Kyoshi Warriors. We only saw episode... Okay, so they've only seen episode 1. Okay. Yes, but Ian is a standout. Okay, that's good. That's good. I really hope that he's a standout in terms of because I feel like one of the great things about Sokka is that he's a goddamn genius. Like, the dude is a literal genius, but at the same time, he's the most lovable goofball of all time. And I feel like balancing that, like constant swinging from super serious, trying to be a leader, into throwing out like the wackiest joke of all time is going to be hard in live action, right? It's capturing the humor. Will be interesting. Very good to hear that that's generally a positive. Are you going to watch live on stream with the viewers? They're probably running this on the internet. No. We're gonna do the same thing as I did with One Piece, right? So I will have the time on screen, but I'm not going to show the screen, obviously, because then I would be sued. I don't want to be sued. I really don't want to be sued. So if people want to watch along, I'll have the time. But yes, I will stream my reactions, the whole thing. Did you talk to any of the cast? My favorite was shutting my cabbages. Is this talking about... I always get so mad about this. People keep telling me, because when I make Avatar videos on the main channel, I often start the cycle with fire. Because that's where it began. It began with Wan. And then people are like, no, but that's not how it is in the original intro. I don't care what it is in the original intro. I'm talking about lore. And in the lore, it's fire. Lore is always most important. How are the effects? I don't mean bending, but I mean the actors in the world itself. Does it look like a bunch of people in front of a green screen the whole time? This is big. This is big. VFX are clean. One thing I'm starting to see more and more is people saying that, like, the volume, when you've seen the volume, you know it's the volume. Like, it looks really, really good, but it has a sort of a weird, superficial look to it that people can now spot very, very easily. And it's not that it doesn't look good, but it's distracting. It can look incredible, but you know it's there, and your illusion is immediately broken. The best VFX are the ones you can never see. And it feels like the volume has sort of run its course. So, we'll see. I heard Aang's airbending. Okay, I want to read this. I want to read this because airbending. Let's before I open this comment, let's really quickly take let's take 10 seconds to think about airbending. What is airbending? It's air. So can we for a second think back to when Aang does airbending? How is it portrayed? It's blue for some reason. Why is it blue? Because we need to see it. So I think airbending in live action, I mean, it has to be different. It's dust bending. Exactly, right? So why is it dust bending? Because we need to see it. Why is it leaves bending? Because we need to see it, you know? Yes. Okay. No more responses. It is going to be different, like 100%, because they have to change it so that it makes sense. Airbending must be somehow visual without just being like random leaves flying around, you know? We're gonna watch the newest video. Yeah, I saw that there's a new video as well. It's not a movie. Please, it's not a movie. It shouldn't be a movie. It's not a movie. Oh, that's that. Did they ruin my boy Sokka? Sokka is one of the highlights of the first episode. Great. Why not 10? Any concerning flaws? Let's look at this. 10 is a masterpiece in life altering. It's not quite that, but it's a goddamn good opener to the show as an adaptation. It's phenomenal. Big true. Big true. I never give 10s to anything because I feel like, I mean, if you give a 10 to anything, what are you gonna do to the next best thing? You know? So I feel like a 9 is very, very good. Might nitpick it down to an 8. That's still fine. That is still great. Like a line like this, it's a small change. But Or We Will Die Trying, that is already a much, much different vibe. It is already infinitely more mature. You know? Because Zuko's first introduction with Iroh in the animation is, I don't need your calming tea. Zuko straight up saying, or we die trying. That is pretty metal, you know? Very good. Very good. Nothing more. Okay. I think we saw a fire sage somewhere here. Pretty sure there was a fire sage. Yeah, there it is. Yep. That's a fire sage right there. So this is the solstice, probably. Very smooth transition, by the way. Look at this. It's like Aang takes a step, and he keeps on deflecting the fire. And this we've seen. I'm glad they're not giving us a ton more. I don't want to see much more. Iroh's armor, yeah. I don't know how I feel about Iroh's armor. I kind of wanted to see him just like walking around, you know, in his freaking thing. Or we die trying. That's pretty metal. That's pretty metal. They released all the episodes of One Piece live action at once. Yes. Yes. Netflix... I don't think Netflix will ever move to weekly releases, and I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. There is literal research about this. I keep saying this in every stream I do. This is not just my thoughts. There is literal scientific proof for this. People enjoy binging less. Literal scientific evidence for that. Well, as scientific as you can get, you know. I used to paste it in all my videos. I don't anymore, because I think it got annoying. But yes, it's going to be released all at once. I hate weekly episodes all at once is best. No, it's not. It's literally not. It hurts community engagement. It hurts your own brain because you can't process anything. It's all just a sludge you consume. Number 3, it's not exciting at all because you don't know where your friends are. It's like, oh, which episode have you seen? Oh, I binged all of it? Well, too bad. We can't talk for like 3 days until you finish it. It's worse across the board. I hate binge releases. I hate them. I hate them with every single fiber of my being. Exactly. Watching anime weekly is like the best thing. And that's why Game of Thrones was so big. That's why Lost was so big. That's why The Walking Dead was so big. These shows were talked about every single week. And that's not even mentioning like Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad. One Piece and Avatar would have been very good. I feel like with One Piece, once we got to like episode 3, people would be so excited. Because we hit episode 3 and it would be so different from the anime. It'd be so good. I'd love it. Can you imagine all the conversations people would have around, like, what's gonna happen with Kuro? That would be so fun. Look at what happened JoJo Part 6, like, the hype is gone. Bingo. You do raise a very good point, though. I personally don't like discussing episodes weekly. Why don't you just wait for it all to come out, then? That's my counter-argument. Because it benefits everyone. And in a roundabout way, it also benefits you. Because I feel like Netflix just killed JoJo Part 6. Like, literally, Netflix destroyed any community engagement for JoJo. And, we'll see what happens with Part 7. I mean, JoJo is big. It's going to get an adaptation anyway. But, you know. You will never convince me that binging is better. You won't. I don't see any positive, basically, with binging. None. None at all. Alright. Alright, let's get right into it. Let's get right into it. This looks spicy. Others are out here giving episode 1 a 10 out of 10. I wish I could agree with them. Standout performances and surprisingly well-crafted effects are hampered down by poor pacing and a start and stop beginning with too many intros. Character flaws are removed. To the detriment of future arcs. To be fair, they've only seen episode 1, so this literally means nothing. We don't know if they're removed. We don't. A lot of this stuff could be explored later. A lot of this stuff could never be explored. We don't know. Some clunky dialogue does the actors no favors. There's some wonderful moments and the cast has sparkling chemistry, but they're undermined by the poor pacing. The episode struggles to balance its darker and more comedic moments the way the show did, and it created an uneven tone throughout. This, I think, is just because of the live-action medium. This is something that I can definitely see how this would be true. Struggling to balance the tone. This was one of the first things, again, if you go back to my Avatar videos, I said, number 1 is gonna be tone. How are they going to balance Aang almost dying and Aang riding the Unagi with the whole anime face? You know? How's that gonna work? I don't know. I can see this being true. I can see this being very, very true. Because you can't go from a mass unaliving to jokesters. There needs to be a tonal transition there. I wish the writers would get out of the cast's way and let them perform because they got it, and the chopping pacing is in the way. Also, I don't think Zuko's ship is real, LMAO. They seem to teleport on and off it as if it's only a set in CGI, so there's no way to show anyone coming off and on the ship. I don't know why I find that very funny. To be fair, though, and she goes on to explain more, this creates some narrative awkwardness as establishing shots of people arriving on, getting off, and getting on. This is one of those things. This is one of those things. Someone that is inexperienced in creating cinema will overlook. But when you catch it, you will never unnotice it. Very good that she mentions this. Because this is what I meant. If I feel like I'm mixing everything now. If we go back to The Walking Dead, Season 11, Commonwealth, why is the single most like common criticism of the Commonwealth that it's tiny when it's supposed to be the biggest community we had ever seen? Because they didn't give us any establishing shots. They gave us no sense of scale. So if this is like we literally don't see them moving up and down the ship, then I don't know. Same in the animation though. Yes and no. There are many shots of Zuko moving around the ship. Even in episode 1, Zuko gets off the ship like right at the front. When they're talking about the pirates, we see Iroh coming off of the ship as well. When they meet Zhao as well. That is episode 3. Yeah, I believe it's 3. Yes, it's 3. Yes, it's 3. When they meet Zhao, they're also getting off of the ship and then going to talk to Zhao. There are definitely scenes of them getting off of the ship. I don't think we ever see them walking down the stairs. But, you know, it is there. It is there. This creates some narrative awkwardness as establishing shots of people arriving on, getting, okay, good. This is a very, very good criticism. Unfortunately, I feel like this will be implanted deep into my subconscious now, and I'll think about it. We'll see. Dallas Liu was definitely a standout, and despite Zuko being softened here compared to the show, that's interesting, because he was talking about dying. Still has the intensity and presence while maintaining a streak of relatable vulnerability. Okay. All the kids did amazing, though. Gordon acted circles around some clunky dialogue that even an adult would have struggled with. Good. Good. I don't want to try and pronounce her name. Had the hopefulness and charm of Katara, but I wish they'd let her show more range. I'll let my girl get angry and frustrated and have feelings. Okay. Interesting. Because I feel like after we've read, again, I don't want to try and pronounce his name either. He said Sokka was the standout. In this, Sokka is the least favorite. What puts me at ease is that the commonality in this is that the cast is good. That's what puts me at ease. The casting is good, and they feel like the characters. So if this is just like a matter of favorites, then I don't know. Even with all going against him, he managed to make me laugh. Good. Kid gave a great performance. Still wish they'd cast someone who looked more like, I don't know. Because the difference between them was distracting. Nah. There was only one actor that I really say was bad, and it was Gran Gran. Gran Gran was always a bit of an exposition character. I mean, yeah, true. It's just like, time for lore. But that's all that she does here. There's no moments of her tenderness between her and the kids, and she overall lacks any gravitas to her lines. She delivers everything with surprisingly childlike credulity. I don't think I've ever read this word. Credulity? Credulity? I don't know what that is. That grates very quickly, and her reproduction of the classic opening lines was so awkward that the audience laughed. It wasn't supposed... was so awkward that the audience laughed. Space. It wasn't supposed to be funny. Paul's Iroh has so much potential, and they criminally... his chemistry with Zuko was perfect, and they delivered the best lines in my opinion. I can't wait to see more of him. He's also softened though, and he didn't help Zuko try to shoot the gang. I mean, in the long run, it makes sense. In the long run, I think it makes sense. I think this is leveraging hindsight. I don't think this is a big deal that he didn't actually help them. The show's best storytelling was in its tonally original prologue. But as exciting as the action and political intrigue were, it takes up too much of the episode. You won't even notice because it's too so engaging, but then you get to the actual present-day story and, well, there's so little time left. The episode speeds through the story beats at breakneck speeds to catch up. To be fair, if you go back to the animation and watch it now, it is really fast. The animation is really, really, really fast as well. It's very easy to overlook now that we know, like, the whole story, but it is incredibly fast. In live action, it might just feel a bit different. We'll see. Aang no longer runs away out of fear of being the Avatar or being separated from Gyatso. He just goes out flying to clear his head about it, intending to return. This is interesting. This is interesting because I saw that. Yes, I saw that. Don't worry. I saw your comment about the interview. I'm not going to watch the whole 28-minute thing now, though. This is interesting because I want to see the whole story. Because him flying out to clear his head, but intending to return. We kind of... like, the animated show always frames it as if Aang was running away, intending to never return. But he's a kid. Where the hell was he going to run off to? So do we really, like, go all in on the assumption that he never intended to return? Or he got caught up in the storm and then freezes, and that's why he never returned? I think you can spin this either way, and it will make sense. I don't think this is a huge problem. I'm not that worried about this. It seems big on the face of it, but I don't think this is a big deal. Sozin coincidentally kills the entire Southern Air Temple while Aang is out. Lucky timing, I guess. I found it a bit too distracting. I mean, this is nitpicky. But this worries me because it has cut out an important parallel between Zuko and Aang. Will the storm no longer feature this counterpoint story? Good point. Wait, is this implying... Wait, I don't think I'm getting what she's saying. Because Aang no longer runs away? You put it very nicely, yeah. Most times when kids run away, they tend to never return for max 1 hour. Or until they get scared. You know all those times when you were a kid, you got mad at your parents, you were like, and then you storm off, and then you're just like, oh, where's mom? Where's mom? I can't see her. And then you get scared. It's basically that. So yeah. But what is this? What's up? What's going on here? So Aang doesn't run away. Is this literally like he's out for 30 minutes? And that's when they attack? What? I don't think I'm quite picking up what she's saying. It's fine. Let's move on. Whatever. Seems odd that Aang is directly told by Gran about the air nomad genocide. To be fair, this is like, yeah. He sees the skeleton and loses it, but she already told you, not like the show where you didn't know. I don't know how to feel about this one. Because this seems bad. This seems like shoddy writing in the sense of you've changed things, but you don't account for the fact that you've changed things. Which is bad. You know? The reason why I say I don't know how to feel about this is because when Aang shows up in the Southern Water Tribe, and he's an airbender, and no one seems to pay attention to the fact that he's an airbender considering what happened to the airbenders, did seem kind of odd. Hello, Appa. Have you come to debate Avatar? Say hello to Appa. Also, that is odd. That they've changed it, but they're not accounting for the fact that they changed it. Also, no penguins. And no sledding. And Katara no longer brings Aang out of the Avatar state. So far, Katang doesn't seem to be a thing at all. So all of that happens at... They were talking about making the Avatar state a bit more special, though. So maybe it's just that. Because I feel like I'm picking at tea leaves now. So if Aang still goes into the Avatar state... Oh, wait, no, this is talking about Gyatso, right? So if he goes into... Because for a second, I thought this was about Zuko. So Aang goes into the Avatar state with Gyatso. I don't know, because I go back to this, right? He's told about the mass unaliving, and he doesn't react, but then he sees the skeleton and loses it. He is supposed to be a kid. So, you know, this might literally be a case of, like, sure, he's told what happened, but seeing your master dead in front of you, maybe it's just, I don't know, I want to see it. 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 Because this entire thing seems a bit odd. Especially with, like, the storm as well. This whole running away bit seems very weird to me. Because it should be straightforward. Aang runs away, the war starts. Aang wakes up 100 years later, his people have been mass unalived. It should be very straightforward. I don't know. They do share a sweet scene of discussing bending, but Aang... Also, this is where she just bops him with the water whip thingy. Aang doesn't tell Katara he's unable to train her, and Katara's motivations for going to the north is missing. Yeah, because they were talking about, like, they gave Aang a vision. He's told about it in the cartoon. He doesn't believe it. Then he finds Gyatso's bone and loses it. That's in line. Yes. Yes. You are actually right. Yeah, because, like, when they're arriving at the Southern Air Temple, Aang is even saying, no, it's fine. Right? And then when they actually start exploring the temple, they see the helmet. He is told. Well, I mean, I don't think he's ever told explicitly. And, like, you know, like 100% all your people are dead. I don't think he's ever told that, like, word for word. But he's definitely told. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. That's why I want to see it. 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 I'm not going to read into this. This is weird, though. The fact that, like, there's no vision for him going to the north. There's something about a book. The book is also very interesting, yes. Because people are saying it might be Kuruk's diary, right? Because that is mentioned in the novels as well. And Kuruk is said to appear more. And if they're going, like, very, very cheeky with it, it would make sense that Kuruk appears, it would make sense that Kyoshi appears, it would make sense that Roku appears, right? So we have all the other avatars. Oh, and Yang Chen is also said to appear at least a little bit. So we would have all the 4 avatars. I want to see it. Anyway. Struggling to get around, that was really nicely animated, surprisingly well done and enchanting. Sokka, I'm so torn on this. He was surprisingly funny, but he was also already a good leader. The kid army isn't a joke here. Sokka has actually trained them and has them working shifts. This is kind of a mixed bag. This is a mixed bag because the 100 years in the animated show, if you like really think about it, like 100 years, that's a lot, that's a very long time, right? But we really, it felt like in a weird way we were picking up with like the immediate fallouts of all of that, right? Like there's still kids who haven't grown up during the war. 100 years of war. 100 years of war. And there are still kids who are completely innocent, completely naive. Kind of hard to believe. So this kind of makes sense. There's also an adult man in the village, though he only really has one line, and so Sokka's entire arc seems vague. We'll see. Also, he already is one. Good point, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I think there is, like, growth, right? Because there is being a leader, and then there's being, friggin', like, his dad level of leader, right? 2 very different things. This is all just episode 1. Interesting. He's also not sexist at all in episode 1, which is a shame for Katara too, since we never get to see her be angry. Yeah, this is weird. This is weird. This is just weird. This is just plain, simple, weird. This is an odd choice. I wonder how they do it then. Because the whole them bantering around in the very, very first episode, it is kind of like, it's literally show don't tell. You know? That first sequence is a brilliant example of show don't tell. It perfectly characterizes all of the characters that are introduced. Each and every one of the characters that makes their first appearance in Avatar is characterized within like 30 seconds. It's perfect. So what do they do here? I don't know. Zuko isn't nearly as mean and threatening to Iroh either. He's mostly just bratty. I think that's fine. It's not that it doesn't work, it does, and their chemistry is fantastic, but it does often, but it does soften Zuko a lot. I think this is fine. I think this is fine. I think it's, again, a matter of mediums. In general, he's a lot more patient. He doesn't threaten Gran or the kids. He's willing to wait for Sokka and Katara to argue about Aang. They added a plot about Zuko writing a book. I won't spoil that further. I think we've seen parts of this book, but I wasn't sure if it's, like, actually in the episode. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see about this. We'll see about this. They added a plot point about Zuko. Okay, we already read that. Too many intros, Netflix. There are too many. A cold open with a messenger getting caught by Sozin to establish the war. Then the original intro explaining the... No, hold up. Wait a minute. These two, perfect. Then there's a whole prologue with Aang and Gyatso and his people. It takes a while, and it feels like maybe this should have been its own episode because they clearly enjoyed writing all of this. Then Aang leaves to clear his head for a while, and we find Sozin is... Oh, I thought... Oh, I'm starting to see the problem now. So they went with everything being sequential. Instead of... Because all of this... Aang gets frozen in the iceberg. Aang and Gyatso, all of that is the storm. But here we're just going through all of that right off the bat. So that's what... Oh, yeah. So that's what they meant by it's very fast. Because going through all of this... Like, when we get to the present day, and you're supposed to blast through 2 to 3 whole episodes? Okay. This is something I'm actually slightly worried about. Because they were not sequential for a reason. He's just out and about and frozen. It's probably to do with the Avatar. It's probably still to do with the Avatar. It's just that, like, he doesn't flee from the responsibility, he just goes to... What they might do is they might literally be like, Aang, you might be the Avatar. Aang is like, oh my god, this is a lot. And then he flies around, not with the intention to like run away, but just to like clear his head. And then something happens and he gets caught. I don't know what it is. We'll see. Anyway. A different studio worked on each element. It shows because they were all polished and look way better than the trailers. Hey, yo. Okay. Showing better things in the actual product than in the trailer? What is this? Is this Rockstar? Okay. Airbending is invisible now. This is, I mean, something like, what were you going to do? How do you handle... Oi. Appa was attacking my water bottle. I mean, what do you do with this? Like, do you show it? Is it blue? Do you make blue air? Or do you make it invisible and make it to do with like leaves and dirt and dust and stuff? How do you do it? Fire actually burns now too, which makes it way more intimidating. Very good. Very good. Water looks magical. It's enchanting. And I have to applaud them for it actually looking like water. Water physics is always literally the hardest thing to do. So them pulling it off is a very good sign. Earth was brief, but had the best scene. Literally rocked us in our seats. Overall, it has fantastic potential, and I hope for the later episodes surpass a Rocky beginning to meet that potential. If the rest of the show can be more like the first episode's high points, it'll be a masterpiece. If the low points compound, it'll be a disaster. But realistically, I expected it'll be about a 6 to 7 out of 10. So good, but not great. I mean, do we want anything more? I'd be fine with a 7. I'd be more than fine with a 7. Music was amazing, 10 out of 10. It blows that movie out of the water, it's not even close. Interesting. There are definitely things in this that, you know, they are worrisome to me. Like the whole Aang running away bit. Maybe it's just the way, like, these are tweets, right? This is not like a whole review with each paragraph, yada yada. So, I don't know. The running away bit seems like the weirdest thing. We'll see. I do like that this was very critical. My favorite thing of this review, my favorite thing about this review is this. I don't think Zuko's ship is real. Catching something like this, I think that is, it's something you would never notice if you didn't know what you were looking for, you know? This is very good insight. Because this is like transitioning between scenes. Did the Southern Water Tribe know about the Air Nomad genocide in the original? I thought the tribe and Grand just said that nobody had seen an Air Nomad in 100 years. That's why Aang did not assume. No, because Katara delivers the original exposition, right? So it must be. They know tangentially, at least. It's a good review, though. Good review. There's a cat now sitting in my lap, so I won't be able to move around. I'm curious how true Aang leaving to clear his head is, or if that's just how it's depicted before he reveals he actually ran away. That is honestly the least of my worries. Like, whether they present it as him just running to clear his head, or it's running away, or whatever, all of that you can explain if you just focus on him being a kid, him being scared, yada yada. You can explain any of that, you know? It just needs to have, like, some... Because the thing that genuinely confuses me, not like I think it's bad or good or, you know, there's criticism. The thing that confuses me is the Fire Nation attacks while he's away. Like, I am literally confused by this. It's like, what do you mean? Lucky timing. Does he, like, dip out for a quick McDonald's trip and that's when they attack? I don't know. It seems weird. Seems so sus. Exactly. Right? Because in the animation, it was like the Air Nomads were talking about a 15-minute invasion. Exactly. In the animation, the Air Nomads were talking about how they're like uncertain times are brewing. You know? They're scared. We need to find the next avatar. They find the next avatar. And because they're scared, Aang has like a lot of, you know, the burden is put on him. He's scared, he runs away. But the war hasn't actually started yet. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's the most confusing part to me is that is something they chose to change. Because, I mean, like I said before, in the animation, It is very, very straightforward. It is literally, Aang is scared, runs away, gets stuck in the thing, the war starts, everyone dies. Aang is in the thing for 100 years. It's very straightforward. So I wonder why they opted to change that. Let them cook. Let them cook. Maybe if the storm is still intact and the storm is like a full-fledged flashback episode, maybe that's where we really learn about like what Aang was thinking and stuff. I find it interesting that this is the episode that Bryke has writing credits. So do you think this was a change they greenlit? I think there is a lot of Bryke still left over. Not just because I can't, hold on, let me see if I can. I always bring it up. I'm gonna have to type one-handed. Hold on. It's gone. Anyway, what I was going to say is there were talks of Avatar Studios collaborating with Netflix. So I still think that like a lot of the lore that isn't even written in the Avatar universe is going to be in the live-action version. That came from Avatar News, a very, very reputable news source for Avatar. They had all the scoops. Also, in one of the Braving the Elements episodes, again, I forget whether it was Mike or Brian, one of them said they don't like what happened to Yue. Wouldn't be surprised if that is something that's changed in live action. I think there is a lot more of Mike and Brian left over than people will probably imagine. I want to change up my 20-year-old script to make it better. And that is the saddest part. You know, a lot of authors, they realize that people love their work. They know that. They know people absolutely adore their work, but they don't like something in it. And for better or worse, they want to change it. Sometimes, like as a consumer of that media, I am almost like, Mike, Brian, come on, my broskies. It was perfect. Don't touch it. But then Mike and Brian are like, no, we want to change it. Did they specify? They did not. They literally just said there are things. Basically, I have the exact phrase. If you go to my main channel in the My Hopes for Season 1 video, there's the exact quotes from the podcast episode. But he basically said, you know, people like different things. I wasn't a fan of what happened there. Whatever it is. Something with UA. Something. We don't know what though. Whether it is the lack of screen time, whether it's like the whole Sokka stuff there. Because I mean, with Sokka, the whole my girlfriend became the moon, right? And then he gets together with Suki. That's just a bit of a weird one. I don't know. It's really, really hard to say what it was. But he said something. Fake posting and throwing around new lore in interviews is weird. I don't think it's I think it's actually a really, really good call. I don't think it's them trying to like drum up hype or anything. I think it's genuinely them just not wanting to say anything before they actually know what it is. Like if they literally say like, I don't know, we're gonna do a story about Roku, right? It doesn't make sense because we're going to get the Roku novel. But let's just entertain this idea. We're gonna do a story about Roku. And then they don't do a story about Roku. Everyone's mad, even though they were just throwing around the idea, right? So I'd rather have them be like super vague and not commit to anything than disappoint people because they were told that they're going to do something. Generally though, I do feel like modern marketing with just vague posts has gotten way out of hand. It's literally, because I feel like we've reached the point on the internet where everyone has found their little echo chamber and someone posts a tweet. I sometimes do this. You post a tweet of like eyes, and everyone's, oh my god, like he posted the eye emoji, something big is happening. Oh no, hey, the eye emoji, what does it mean? What does it mean? You know, and then people get like super excited. It's like literally zero cost, zero commitment marketing, because people just drum it up themselves. So, like from that perspective, I definitely agree with you. They were involved with the movie. There's literally footage of them on set. They were involved with the 2010 movie. That is a fact that cannot be disputed. There's literally, I think I even have it. There is literal footage of them on set. This is not something that you can debate. People really don't want to admit it, but it's true. It's true. In the same way that people don't want to admit that a lot of people don't like Legend of Korra. Bryke and Mayan, yeah. Bryke also made that. Here they are. Here they are. It is what it is. You win some, you lose some. It can't all be winners, right? There's really nothing to debate here. To be fair, God, in 2K, bro, I think this is like 144p. To be fair, in their defense, adapting animation to live action is drastically different. Not just because you are going from animation to live action, but because you're going from 20 minutes to 2 hours, right? Please don't press any buttons. You can sleep there, just don't press any buttons. Like going from a whole season of an animated show to just a 2-hour movie, I feel like that was like they set themselves up for failure before they even put pen to paper. Like whoever greenlit a movie about book 1 of Avatar should have well, they shouldn't have been given a promotion, I'll say that.